Hey, good evening everyone. This is Daniel Fusco, Senior Product Designer on the Release Group. This video is an overview of all the changes in this merge request you're seeing on the screen, the restructure, release orchestration, jobs to be done. For some context, this merge request is about refining our jobs to be done in release orchestration in advance of some work in Q1 to increase the maturity for this category. At first, the changes that were being proposed in this MR were more superficial, but based on a lot of feedback that we received, I decided to take a step back and really restructure the way we set up our jobs to be done, mainly because one of the problems was we had too many of them. So some of them had to be cut off, others had to be merged together. And this makes for a really complicated set of changes just to be read on the MR. So this video is a helper to navigate these changes. So let's start with this map where you can see here the state that we had, right? The original state of these jobs to be done. So we had two sets of jobs, one main job, created, release, and updated with subjobs, and then another main job that was tracking and coordinating deployments that also had a few subjobs. Let's start from this first one. So create a release and updated, that was the short version of it. And it read, when I'm ready to deploy a change, I want to deploy to production state for customer consumption so I can get adoption of the product released. So essentially it meant I want to deploy my product, my changes, and get customers to adopt it. So the way I rephrased this was release and deploy code changes. When code changes are available, I want to release these changes to customers so they can benefit from the update, right? The idea here is to be a little more broad in the sense of we have changes, let's make sure customers can access these changes while still including both release and deploy in the language. This was a very intentional decision since these are two different but overlapping concepts right now in our platform. I decided to have both here to make sure that this is not about the release feature on GitLab. It's about releasing or deploying, whatever verb you want to use. It's about updating our code base into the customer's hands. So that's why this was phrased like this. Moving on, the second one was when releasing changes to various environments, I want to be able to tag versions of code so I can track incremental build to approvals to become a production version or build. This one is all about making sure you can see which versions of code are being released and track those. So that was translated into track code being released. When releasing changes, I want to track different versions of code until they are ready to for production, so I can ensure the right changes reach our customers. So that was release orchestration 2 previously. And then interestingly, these two, they were not the same, but they were closely related enough that it made sense to turn them into one. So the first one is about tracking important deliverables in my project and easily create and manage all the information necessary for a release, right? So it's about easily getting all the information together to make sure you have everything ready for a release. And the second one, it's about also preparing a release, but making sure you can do everything from one place, right? From one interface. So since this was about quality and being easy to do, which is not ideal in a job to be done, and this was about centralizing in one place, I thought it makes sense to mix them together. So create releases in one place. When releasing changes, I want to manage all the necessary information in one place so I can provide an update that includes all the information my users need without switching contexts, which was part of the text for one of them. So it's simpler. It's about releasing and deploying code changes, being able to track which changes are being released, and being able to do it from one place. That's how it's simplified. And then we also had the other ones, right? Tracking and coordinating deployments. This one was some of them were worded a bit weirdly. So this one, the main one, reads, when ensuring teams are coordinated about releases, I want to deploy to production state for customer consumption so I can show the body of work that goes into deploying to production. This reads a lot like I want to deploy, right? So I want to deploy to production, so customers can consume the work. So this reads a lot like what we already have here, releasing, deploying code changes. So this one, the text for this one was scrapped, although tracking and coordinating deployments as a main job still makes a lot of sense. So what I did was I got the sub-job that made more sense with this main title and put them together. So what we ended up with was track and coordinate deployments. When preparing to deploy changes, I want to keep my teams coordinated and aware of what's being deployed so I can ensure a positive experience for our users, right? While the first one here is about, and regardless of personas of who's deploying or who's coordinating, right? But the one on the left is more about being able to release or deploy code changes that are coming from one or more repos. And this one is more about tracking multiple changes together for multiple teams, more of a coordination effort. And then there's a second one, which also brings together these two. One of them, oh, high five. One of them about planning all the changes to production in one place to reduce failure points. And this one about taking action on deployments from across my organization also in one place. So again, very, very similar goals, very aligned goals between these two jobs. So manage deployments in one place. When managing changes to production, I want to manage and take actions on deployments from a single tool so I can have better control of our production changes. So this is how we ended up. You will see, if you pay attention in either the MR changes or this video, that I ditched the release orchestration names for the jobs, and that's on purpose, right? Right now, we have no place here on the way the jobs are displayed to list which categories they are linked to, and to be honest, I don't think we should. Jobs should not be category specific. They are just jobs that our users are conducting within our application, within our platform. So the idea here is that this is about releasing and deploying, and then these are the sub-jobs for release and deploy, and same here. This is about track and coordinate, and these are the sub-jobs for it. I have some additional thoughts. I'll leave them as a comment in an MR because this video is long enough, and I wanted to take the time to just go over all the main changes. So this is it for now. Please leave your comments and your feedback on the MR itself, and thanks for watching.